All right, good evening, members of the media, and welcome to our post-game press conference. We're currently joined here on the dais by head coach James Franklin of Penn State, along with two student athletes, Drew Aller and Nick Singleton. We'll start with opening remarks from Coach Franklin. Coach Franklin?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank our fans for the support that we got all year long. Was phenomenal. Could not be more proud of these two young men that are sitting next to me and really all those guys in that locker room. We played our tails off tonight and really played our tails off all season. Obviously, we need to give Notre Dame and Marcus a ton of credit. They did a great job. We knew it was going to be a fourth quarter game and come down to a possession. And that's exactly what happened. So give Notre Dame a ton of credit. I wish them the best of luck moving on to the national championship. But I love every guy in that locker room. I love every person in that locker room. Proud of them. Played our tails off tonight. Obviously, we made too many mistakes that were costly. So give Notre Dame credit, and we'll learn from this, and we'll be better. Open it up to questions.
All right, we're going to first start with questions only for our student athletes, and we'll have just a few minutes of questions with them. Then we will open it up for questions from Coach Franklin. So now we'll open it up for questions for our student athletes. If you have a question, please raise your hand. A microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name and affiliation before asking your question. So the first question is right here.
Yeah, Johnny McGonigal, Penn Live. Question for Drew. Can you just walk us through the interception?
Yeah, I mean, I was going through my progression, got to the backside, and honestly, I was just trying to dirt it at his feet, but I mean, I should have just thrown it away when I felt the first two progressions not open just because of the situation we were in. But I was just trying to dirt it at Amari's feet, but just didn't execute what I was trying to do.
Question to our left.
Daniel Gowan, Lines 24/7. Drew, can you evaluate your performance tonight? What worked and what they might have done to make things more difficult?
I mean, we didn't win the game, so it wasn't good enough. I mean, I think it's plain and simple. So I'll learn from it. Just do everything in my power to get better from it and just grow from it.
Our next question. Right here.
Question for Nick. You had a 3-touchdown performance. Just thinking about where you played at this year. I know you're a junior, but I know the national championship game is next year down here in this stadium. Have you used that as motivation just to get back here in this same location for another chance?
Yeah. Really, I don't even know yet what I'm doing next year right now, but I'm worried about being with Drew, Coach Franklin, all my teammates right now. Just spend the time, because again, it's not gonna be the same team as last year. So whenever that happens, it happens. But right now, I'm enjoying the time with my teammates.
Question to the left.
Audrey Snyder with The Athletic. Drew, what did this season mean for you to kind of become the vocal guy, one of the leaders on this team, and what have you maybe learned about yourself during that process?
I learned a lot about myself, and I think it's a credit to the coaching staff for just allowing me to be me. I think I grew a lot on the field, off the field, so just looking forward to continuing to grow, learn more about myself, get better in any way I can, on the field, off the field. So I'm just looking for the opportunity. I'm definitely going to learn from this, but yeah, I'm just going to learn from it and, move on and take it on the chin right now.
We're going to have two more questions for our student athletes. Our next question. Right here.
Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Drew, I know third down was big on both sides of the ball. What did you see them doing, or why was it so hard to convert those third downs tonight?
I mean, coming into the game, I think they were. I don't know what they were, but they were definitely one of the top defenses in the nation in terms of just third down conversion percentage against them. But I think it came down to just executing. I thought we had a really good plan. I thought Coach K and the offensive staff had a really good plan for normal downs, third down, and red zone, but I missed a couple throws on it, so it comes down to just execution. So, I mean, a credit to Notre Dame for making it tough for sure, but I think if we just execute those moments, that we would have been put ourselves in a better position. And it starts with me, hitting some of those throws.
One more question for any of our two student athletes. Okay, we're going to allow them to head back to the locker room. Again, realizing the game was very tough, and it's very tough on them to be here with us now, but we appreciate them coming and joining us, and we're going to allow them to leave now at this time, and then we'll have questions directed to Coach Franklin.
Proud of you guys. Love you.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right, we'll have questions for Coach Franklin right here. In the back, and then we'll get to you. I'm sorry.
James, you guys game cranked up in the first half, second quarter especially. Did they do anything to maybe slow you down in that area in the second half?
No, I mean, I think your point is a good one, right? The two biggest points of the game are, in my opinion, what you guys just brought up. Third down, we weren't effective enough on third down, and then the middle eight. That field goal right before the half was big. We almost had a chance to have a fumble recovery right there off a strip sack. And then to open the second half with them going down and scoring a touchdown and us going 3 and out. Those things, that was significant in the game. You looked at Notre Dame when we studied them. They were one of the better middle 8 teams in the country. So were we. But that was a major factor in the game. And then on top of that, I would say big plays. Just we'd make them earn it. We'd make them earn it. We'd make them earn it. And then they'd capitalize with a big play, which is again. Something that we've done really well all year long is making people earn it. And they had a good plan. Give their coaches a ton of credit. Their players made plays at specific times. But that was probably the two biggest points in the game from my perspective.
Question down front.
Bob Flounders, Penn Live. James, I know it's a tough loss. You've asked a lot about the offense. Just your thoughts on what Abdul Carter was able to do in this game. Obviously, he wasn't 100%, but he was out there a lot, and he was very disruptive, and also denied Dennis Sutton against the run and against the pass. He made one of the most incredible plays to kind of give you a chance to win the game. Just those guys overall and your defense overall.
Yeah, those two guys are warriors, and they've been warriors all year long. Abdul, I'm really proud of him. He gutted it out today, showed tremendous mental and physical toughness, and was disruptive in the game. And denies a guy that really's done everything right since he stepped on campus. And to see him be able to make some big plays tonight at critical moments was huge. Really gave us, a chance to go win that game. So proud of our offense, proud of our defense, proud of our special teams. But the two guys that you signal out, they deserve a ton of credit, and really not just tonight, all year long.
On our left.
Tyler James from Inside ND Sports.
Hey, Tyler.
You didn't have any completions to wide receivers tonight. What was Notre Dame doing defensively that made that so difficult?
Yeah, we tried a couple early on in the game and weren't able to convert them. Tightly contested coverage. They're a man coverage team. But yeah, that's a storyline of the game. That's one of the storylines. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But early on, we had some throws, tightly contested balls that we didn't come down with. So again, give them credit.
Question in the rear, please.
James, after the Ohio State loss, your players talked about wanting another crack, needing to handle their business so they would have a chance to play late into the season. What can you say about the player-led leadership of this team and what they maybe proved with a run like this?
Yeah, when you're talking about a 16-week season now that we have in college football, there's opportunities to bounce back from setbacks. Notre Dame, was able to do it, and we were able to do it. Kept getting better as the season went on, got better, especially the second half of the season. some big wins, some adversity that we were able to overcome, and the guys just kept battling. So I could not be proud of the young men in that locker room and the staff and how they represented Penn State in the Big Ten all season long. So they deserve a ton of credit. And obviously we would have loved an opportunity to get a win tonight and then be able to watch the game tomorrow night and figure out who our next opponent was going to be. But again, very, very proud of our guys.
On the left, please.
Yeah, James Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. You could see the emotion, obviously, on Drew's face. With everything that he's done for you guys, how do you think he'll respond, and what's going to be your message to him going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Drew is a passionate guy. He invests so much into his development, but also to his teammates and to Penn State. And he'll handle this like he handles everything else. With a first-class approach and with an investment level that's as good as anybody in the country. His jump as a year one starter to a year two starter was significant. He's got a chance to take another step next year. But he'll handle it the right way. He's hurting right now, right? Should be hurting. We're all hurting. You know, this ain't easy to get in here right after the game and have a conversation after you just poured your guts out on that field and really did it all year long. So, you know, he'll handle it great. He'll be hurting tonight and he'll be hurting tomorrow and he'll hurt a little bit less the next day and so on and so forth. But he's a committed guy that's going to do it the right way, and he said it. It may not feel like it right now, but he'll learn from this and he'll be better for it, and so will we.
Mr. Roden?
Yeah. Hey, James. Bill Roden from ESPN Amsterdam. I know you've got a lot to unpack, but I'm just wondering how you feel. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and you get this close, play a great game. Do you ever get just how do you feel just as the head coach?
Yeah, I wanted it for the guys. Like, you know, I wanted it for our players. I wanted it for the staff. I wanted it for Pat Kraft and Neely Bendapudi, who've been awesome. And I've been doing this long enough to know when we have the support from our athletic director and president. That's been phenomenal. So I wanted it for them. But most importantly, I wanted it for the guys in the locker room and the staff. So that's as you could imagine, there's 1,000 different emotions going on and feelings. But as the head coach, I got to put on the right face for the guys in the locker room for what they need right now, and for my family. And the sun will come up tomorrow, and the one thing I want to make sure that all those guys do is walk out of that locker room with their heads high and their chest out, because they have a ton to be proud of. There's about 128 teams that would give their right arm to have the season that we just had tonight, that we just had this year. So doesn't feel that way right now, but there's a ton to be proud of.
On our left, please.
James, along those lines, how you doing? When things change in this era of college football so quickly, and next year will look vastly different than things do right now. But when you look big picture, this type of season to be at this point in the year for your program, what do you think this does in the big picture for Penn State to be at this point in the season?
Well, obviously, it was a tremendous experience for our guys, and they know they can play with anybody. And there's a lot of young guys in that locker room who played. There's a bunch of young guys that just were able to experience it. It's an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their life, this season and how it went. And there's going to be a ton of guys coming back for next year that are going to be hungry and are going to be motivated for more. They've gotten a taste of what this feels like and what it looks like and what it smells like, and we'll all be better for it, including myself. will be better from this experience because there's so many guys in that locker room that have a chance to come back and use this as fuel and experience to get back here next year and the years after that. Game season or a 3-game season or whatever it may be. But we didn't approach it that way. It was a 65-play season. Average 65 plays on offense, 65 plays on defense, and about 27 on special teams in a game. And how you approach and treasure those 65 plays gives you an opportunity to play another 65 plays. And that's the hard part, right? Like Tyler Warren, you know, big gangly kid from Virginia that we recruited as a basketball player and was committed to another school, quarterback, and he shows up here and, you know, will go down as one of the greatest tight ends in college football history, you know. Pretty cool to watch his total development. Graduate from Penn State, just get better. You know, he should be the first tight end taken in the draft. Just had a phenomenal experience, right? And I'm proud of him because he's up to like 27 words at Penn State. He hasn't really said anything. You know, Devon Elise, you know, didn't want to come off the field. I've been with, you know, Devon's been playing for us for 6 years and 2 years recruiting them and knowing all these guys' families and their moms and dads and brothers and sisters. That's the hard part, right? Like that to me is what it's all about. I mean, I love the winning, and I know how important winning is at Penn State. Trust me, that's been made very clear to me time and time again. But to me, it's about the guys in the locker room, and it's about their development. I take so much pride in how our guys go about their business, how they grow, how they develop academically at a time in college football where that's being challenged. But I take a lot of pride in how our guys conduct themselves, how they carry themselves, the degrees they get, the type of men that they're going to be, the type of leaders, fathers. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know when I became the old coach, but I did at some point. But we got a throwback program with throwback uniforms, and I still coach them and love them. I guess like the dinosaur I've become at some point. I don't know when that happened, but to me, it's about the guys. It's about the guys and their development. So I want them to get drafted as high as possible. I understand the transfer portal is a part of college football now, and NIL is a part of college football, and we'll embrace those things too. But I want this experience to be so much more than a transactional experience. I want it to be transformational. So, again, you know, that's what it's all about for me. So,
Our final question
thank
on
you.
the left.
Thank you.
James, your first scoring drive, you guys got down to the 4 but had to settle for a field goal. What went wrong that you guys weren't able to punch it in there, because you guys were able to punch it in when you got close to the end zone later in the game?
Well, I don't need to talk about, you know, I'm not going to talk about specifically, obviously, you know, what happened on that play. But first of all, you got to give Notre Dame a ton of credit. Al Golden, Penn State grad, you know, you got to give him a ton of credit. We watched him on tape. We had so much appreciation for how they play defense, and they make you earn it. And we had some opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, and we'll go back and watch the tape and struggle with it and be upset because there's things that we could have done better. But again, it's the game of football is about execution. You know, you call your defense, you call your offense, and whoever executes it better on the specific play called, they have success on that play. And the more plays you put together like that, the better. They got a ton of talented guys on scholarship as well, just like we do. And we came up just a few seconds and a few inches shorter than they did. But to your point, I mean, I think in games like this at this point of the season, everybody wants to pick out a specific play. There's probably 8 to 12 plays in that game that if we could have found a way to make a few more plays in that game, I mean, we're that close, right? It's a game of inches. So I'm not going to call out or talk about specific plays or specific players, because there's a ton of plays that we're going to look back on it from that game that we could have did better, and that we should have did better, and that we could have called better. So it's all of it, but it starts with giving Notre Dame credit. That's a good football team. We lost to a good football team. That's led by a good man. I don't know Marcus very well, but he's a class act after the game. One of my good friends, Jared Parker, worked for him. He thinks he's the best. Thinks he's a great guy. So if you're going to lose to somebody, I don't want to lose anybody, to be honest with you. But you got to give Notre Dame credit, and I know Marcus will do a phenomenal job, and I'm happy for him and their university.
Well, Coach Franklin, we thank you for giving of your time. We know this was not easy for you as well, but we do. And then we will allow the questions to be opened up to not only Coach Freeman, but also our 2 student athletes who are joining us. And they are the 2 most valuable players of our Orange Bowl: the offensive most valuable player, Riley Leonard, and the defensive most valuable player, Christian Gray. First, remarks from Coach Freeman.
Thanks. So proud of this group. What a gritty performance, and they found a way when it matters the most to get their job done. Penn State was a heck of a football team. I had a lot of respect for them coming into the game, but have more after the game. It's a really good team, well coached, and it was a tough matchup. But these guys are resilient, and they found a way to make a play when it mattered the most. And that's what, again, is to me, what great teams, great organizations, they're able to, at that moment that they need to do their job or make a play, they do it. And the last play doesn't matter. There's unpredictable things that happen all the time, and they find a way to make it work. And I'm really proud of them, excited for this next opportunity. We'll enjoy this thing today and tomorrow before we figure out who our opponent is, and then we got to get healthy and get back to work for one less guaranteed.
Okay, thank you, Coach. And now we'll open it up to questions for everyone. Remember to please raise your hand. A microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name, affiliation before asking your question. And again, we can ask questions not only of Coach Freeman, but of our 2 student athletes. Our first question will be on the left for Mr. Tim Reynolds.
Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press. Riley, when you're being evaluated, it's not really up to you if you're coming back or not. What was your level of concern for those few minutes? What was the fear factor like? And did you have any doubt that you'd be able to get back out there and do what you did in the second half?
Yeah, I think our medical support team, first and foremost, did a really good job. Got up a little wobbly, so that's an indicator that they got to bring me to the 10 and go take me through all the concussion tests. So we went through all the tests, and they decided I was good to go back. But we definitely took our time and evaluated my numbers from this summer when I took a brain test to what I performed in the tent. So past that, and Steve Angeli, this is a guy who has kind of waited his turn and all year is prepared like he's a starting quarterback every single week, showing a lot of maturity, and he helps me out a lot. He's a guy on the sideline who knows exactly what the defense is doing, and he's a good friend of mine, and I appreciate him a lot. So for him to go in and drive him down the field 3 points before half, that was big.
Our next question.
Priester from Irish Illustrated. Riley, did you maybe overthink some things a little bit in the first half, making some checks, and by just keeping it simple in the second half, did that allow you to perform at a higher level?
Yeah, we didn't really have too much of an altering game plan. There were some checks that I could have made in the first half, but overall, I knew what the defense was giving me. We just knew what to get to in the second half. But no, I mean, I saw it well, and obviously didn't perform on a couple plays, but I can live with that. If I didn't throw that ball to J2, which I overthrew for an interception, I would have regretted it. So I'm confident in my progression. That was the right throw. Just got to execute, but I can live with that. If I were to not throw it and hesitate, that's one thing. But I let it fly, and then I got picked, but that's all right.
Coach Freeman, could you comment on the performance of the offensive line after you had to put two substitutions in the lineup? And number two, how did you manage to loosen things up so much offensively in the second half? You scored 24 points.
Yeah, we got a lot of confidence in the offensive line room, and when Knapp goes down, Tosh Baker has to go in, and when Rocco goes down, Charles Jagasaw has to go in, and we got a lot of confidence in them. I think the situation right before half, you got a new quarterback in there. Is it a 2-minute situation, or they're trying to rush upfield, and they made some plays, but they were able to. As I told the offensive staff and the team in the locker room, we have to be able to run the ball. We got to stop the run. That's not changing. We said that going into the game, and we're saying that at halftime. And we had to make some adjustments, which we did. We had to try to calm some things down. And you know what? The running attack, the rushing attack, truly helped us open some things in the passing game in that second half. And you know what? Riley just executed. The wideouts executed. The O-line did their job. Tight ends played well. And you find a way to win it in a game-winning field goal. So it was going to be a battle. And we didn't have great production the first half, and it was a 7-point game. And I told them, we get the ball the first series of the second half, and we just got to go out and execute on this play. But I wanted them to understand we did not play to our standard in the first half. And credit to Penn State for what they did on both sides of the ball. But it was a 7-point game. It didn't feel like that going into the locker room, but it was a 7-point game, and our guys went out there and performed that second half.
Our next question.
Marcus, your age was brought up at yesterday's press conference. I guess I'll be one of the first to say happy birthday to you. Where's this rank in terms of how you started one of your birthdays?
Well, 13 years ago, I had a daughter, Sienna, born on the same day as me, and so for the past 13 years, she gets all the birthday credit. And but this is special. Again, this is a special moment that a lot of hard work has been put into it, and it's not about a birthday, man. This is just about a moment and enjoying this moment together.
And then on the final drive where you kicked the field goal, how hard was it to strike a balance of being aggressive but also being careful, knowing you don't want to give Penn State the ball back there as well?
Yeah, we were in we had great communication in terms of what we were going to do. I wanted to see are they going to call timeout. Right? If they're not going to call timeout, then I had to have a plan. Hey, when do we want to use our timeouts? And once we figured out what they were going to do, we said, okay, we want to center this ball on third down. Center the ball on third down. And on center the ball on second down. On third down, that's when we decided to do the QB sneak because they called a timeout. And they executed it flawlessly. Nobody panicked. It was great communication. Riley kept everybody under control, and we knew we were in range where Mitch could make that field goal. And he's a confident guy, man. There is no moment too big for Mitch Jeter. And I had a lot of confidence in him in that moment. He was going to do exactly what he did, and he did a great job at doing it.
If I can, I was curious about the beginning of the drive and sort of like how you decide what this plan of attack is in that situation.
Yeah, we knew we had I don't know exactly where the ball was at the plus 42. We knew we wanted to get the ball as close to the 30-yard line as we could. Listen, if we could have went down and scored, we would have. But we knew at this moment, let's get the ball at least to the 30. And if we're not going to score a touchdown, let's run as much time off the clock as we can. But we didn't want to leave us with zero time. So we had to be smart with how we utilize those 3 timeouts, and we did a good job. Mm-hmm.
Question right here on the left.
Yeah, he was banged up. He was banged up, and he is a tough individual. and he didn't get a lot of practice reps. We were very calculated on what we asked him to do in practice. There was maybe a little doubt on my end, but the closer we got to the game, I said, okay, he's going to give it a go. And you know, the statistics maybe weren't there in the first half, but him being out there means something to everybody on that offense and everybody on our team. And in the second half, he made some Jeremiah Love plays. And, you know what, it speaks volumes to the heart he has. He gave everything he had to this place. He did not have to play today. And, you know, nobody would have batted an eye. But he put team in front of himself and how he felt. And we got a whole bunch of guys like that in that locker room, and that's why we're in this position.
Receivers against the cornerbacks. At some point during that game, did you realize we could adjust a little more and help out on the run when you have Christian and Leonard more on the outside?
Go ahead, you can start. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Coach Meek has always told us, you know, challenge every time, and we just did our job, you know, and we just kept them to 0 catches. So yeah.
That's him, man. You know, and keep it simple. You know, as a defensive mindset, when you have a lot of confidence in your corners to be able to play man-to-man coverage, it allows you to do a lot of different things with those 9 other people. But we can't always just play man, too, because that's how some of those big plays happen. You can scheme us up. But just those guys, one of my favorite play Christian made today, it wasn't a play on the passes when his guy cracked blocking the field and made a huge tackle. I think that was on 3rd down. You know, he gave, how much do you weigh? 190, 80, 70. He put all 175 pounds into that tackle, man. And, but that's, you know what, that hurts. That hurts. You know, and he's made to play man coverage, but I don't know how much he signed up to throw his body in there against a 200-pound running back that runs physical. But that's the way we choose to play this game. That's what I told him in the locker room. That's what I told him before the game. We choose to play this game in a physical, very physical manner. And you know what? Like, you're going to have to play through some pain. But that moment in that locker room when we're singing that fight song and we're celebrating together, it numbs the pain. And I'm just proud of them, and grateful that we have these guys in our locker room.
Marcus, Dominic Miranda, NBC Indianapolis. It feels like this game was a microcosm of the journey you've been on this season to get to this point. Can you just talk about the resilience and response of this team to give this program a chance to win its first national title since 1988?
Yeah. You know, I often tell them in your lowest moments, you find out the most about yourself. And we've had low moments, but we had a really low moment. We know week 2, and these guys battle. We got great leaders. We got great players that chose to put this university and this football program in front of themselves. And that, to me, is probably the single thing that I'm probably most proud of, is how we have a group of individuals that truly put Notre Dame football in front of themselves. Like, I know Riley and Christian truly would rather be in that locker room celebrating than being up here. But that's what it takes. It takes 120 guys saying, you know what, who cares how many plays I get? Who cares what type of individual praise I get? It's all for Notre Dame and to make sure we achieve team glory. And we have a locker room of guys made up of that. And that, to me, is a reflection of what you saw today. The guys that did whatever it took to find a way to make sure we achieve the outcome we want.
Miami Times.
Mark Starr with Miami Times. Coach, having a win down here, South Florida is huge on impacting just visuality to students and high school recruiting. What do you think a win like this locally here would do for you guys in recruiting in that aspect?
Winning helps everything, you know. There's a lot of coaches that are on the road right now recruiting, and fortunate for us, the best recruiting we can do is winning. But also, hopefully, the culture that is built here attracts recruits. And, you know, this is a place we know. South Florida is a hotbed. South Florida has a lot of great football players. Hopefully we find the right ones that choose Notre Dame.
Riley, can you walk us through the moment of that third down play right before the field goal, knowing what you have to do, and then just kind of having to sit there on the sidelines while it feels like forever before Mitch finally hits that field goal?
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling. It's hard to describe the emotion that goes on during that time, and it's hard to describe the emotion that's going on right now even. But I think it's kind of funny to me because I kind of knew the kick was going to go in. Like, we all knew the kick was going to go in. The kid's just got ice in his veins. Like, anytime his number's called and he's got to make it, like, it's a lock. So shout out to Mitch Jeter there. We, you know, and to the defense as well. Our job was to get 15 yards or so, get us in field goal range, and, you know, the rest is history.
And Marcus, I know you said you had all the confidence in Mitch, but how long was that between when Penn State called the timeout and when that kick went through? What are you feeling on the sidelines?
Let's go. Hey, I was more concerned with the protection than I am with Mitch Jeter. Our field goal protection has been a big point of emphasis the last few weeks, and that was what I kept thinking about. And when we had that timeout, was remind them of the fundamentals to execute the protection of protecting the field goal. And Mitch, I leave Mitch alone. He's in his lane, let him do what he does. But I had to make sure those big guys didn't get lost in the moment. It was about execution in that moment, and they did a good job in protection.
Christian, Adam Lichtenstein, South Florida Sun Sentinel. What did you see on the interception, and when did it start to sink in that you just made, you know, probably the biggest play of your career and going to help send your team to the national title game?
To be honest with you, I really didn't think about anything after I caught the ball. I just knew I was just blessed, you know, and I just felt God over me after I caught the ball. So pretty much, yeah.
He's special. I mean, he is. All these guys are special, man. You know, and he won't take credit for it, but he, in the biggest moments, both of these two and many guys in that locker room find ways to make plays when it matters the most. We're playing USC a couple weeks ago, and they're going in to try to make this a one-score game, and he had some plays earlier that didn't go his way. But on that play versus USC, when they went at him, he picked the ball off and ran it back for a touchdown. And so that's what Christian Gray does. He makes plays when it matters the most. And, you know, it wasn't a perfect day for him. I think he got a DPI or a holding or something like that. But in that moment, Christian had to make a play, and he did. And it's a huge reason why we won that game.
Guys in the back, Pete Byrne, WSBT. It's for all three of you, actually. Players come to Notre Dame, coaches coach at Notre Dame for the hope of winning a national championship and the belief that that's possible. I'm curious for each of you, now that you're 60 minutes away, what does that mean?
Yeah, throughout this whole offseason, everybody would ask me like why I came to Notre Dame, and I'll give a lot of different answers. But the truth is, I came here to win a national championship, and you know, to go to the best team that would give me the best odds to do that. And you know, obviously, this is the right place, and I made the right decision. So, I mean, that's why I came here at the end of the day.
Really, I just trusted God, and I trust the coaches here. They saw potential in me. They saw greatness in me, and I believed them on that. So I just came there because of the trust and the community and everything here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think any competitor wants to be a part of a place that the expectations are to win championships. And we all had a decision to make when we chose Notre Dame as the place we want to either coach or play at. But there's more to this place than that, too. We know every year we compete. The expectation is to win championships, but there's more to this university and what it provides for young people. It's a special place that young people get to grow in their faith, they get to grow in community, they get to make connections that are going to help them for the rest of their lives. And so every football season, this is the expectation, although we haven't achieved it. But there's also a lot of things that this university does for these young people that will carry them throughout the rest of their lives.
Marcus, Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated. You not only had to put Steve Angeli in the game in a
critical moment, but you let him let it rip. I mean, he's back there throwing the biggest passes of his career. What's the confidence level, and where's that come from in him and all the other backup guys that you ended up having to play?
Yeah, it's earned. We got a lot of confidence in Steve and those other guys that had to step up when their numbers was called. And Pat, they earned that confidence in practice, right? And Steve's earned it in some game opportunities, but you earn the confidence from your coaching staff and from your teammates in practice. And so if you're thrust into this opportunity out in the game where everybody else can see you, that's when they get to learn about you. But we had a lot of confidence, Steve, in what he can do, and we weren't just going to put him in there to hand the ball off. We were going to try to go to score, and we ended up scoring 3 points.
In the rear.
Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV in Indianapolis. Marcus and Riley, making this run, the whole country is watching. What do you hope the country is learning about your program?
Sorry, where are you at? Oh, okay. What I think the country's learning about our program, I think the biggest thing is just culture wins. You see a bunch of talented guys, across our locker room, but you can see that anywhere in the country. I think at the end of the day, it's, which guys are putting their bodies on the line and doing everything they can for the man next to them. Nobody's thinking about draft stocks or next year or anything like that, any type of individual glory. We're all thinking about the man beside us, and I think, we kind of proved throughout the season that culture wins, and it's a special place for a reason.
Yeah, I'll follow up what Riley says with I hope people that see this football team that aren't with us every day sees a bunch of individuals that put team in front of themselves, and that's a lesson that is going to help you achieve great things in football, but great things in life. You have to be selfless to achieve anything great. I mean, we got a locker room full of selfless players and selfless coaches, and the time you're tested the most is when you're at your lowest point. We lose to Northern Illinois, and you got a decision: do I want to be selfless, or I'm going to put individual glory ahead of myself? And I hope the nation sees that no matter what the situation was, this team continues to put Notre Dame in front of myself.
I believe we have our final 3 questions, and the people asking them already identified. Here's the first of the 3.
Richard Johnson, CBS Sports for Riley. Riley, either when you were down right after you got hit in the first half or in the tent, was there a worry or concern that your night might be done?
No, I was very aware of, how I felt. I just had to prove that through our brain cognition tests. But yeah, I knew, I got a little wobbly there for a second, but I knew whenever I was in the tent, I was all good. So there wasn't a worry at all. No.
Hard head, man.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
All right, question 2 of the final 3 is right here, and then this will be the third and final question.
Vahid Sadarzadeh, ABC 57 South Bend. Can you guys just speak, he's not up here, Jeremiah Love, can you speak to the grittiness that he portrayed tonight, especially on that touchdown run? What is it like for him to battle through that injury? Obviously, he wasn't 100%, but what was it like for him to be out there and grit through this game?
I've already answered that on my end, but I want you guys to answer that. Go ahead.
I'll speak on J Love real quick. J Love is a guy that doesn't show too much emotion until he gets the opportunity to be the leading blocker for me. It's kind of funny out there. He's a real quiet kid, but whenever he has the chance to go knock a D end and pull to block for me, that's when he starts to chirp. So I think it's the best feeling in the world when he's only talking trash whenever the ball's not even going to be in his hands. So he's a special, special person, and one that I love sharing the backfield with.
Okay, and this is going to be our final question.
He was going to answer
was
about
the
J Love.
I'm sorry.
He wants to talk about J Love too. Go ahead, baby. You get to talk about J Love, Christian.
Man, I've been going against J Love since freshman year of high school and everything, and he's just that guy. He's just that guy. Ever since freshman year, he's been scoring touchdowns like crazy. So knowing J Love and his personality, man, the future is bright for him. Not gonna lie.
Hey guys, Andrew Sagona with Reddit CFB. I actually have the perfect question to wrap this up. How do you guys feel, and this is for all 3, how do you guys feel about knowing that you have an extra day off that the winner of the Cotton Bowl is not going to have?
You know what? The greatest thing is that there's one day guaranteed you don't have to stress. Like, we don't know who we're going to play. And so let's enjoy tonight. Let's enjoy tomorrow. Or hopefully we can watch the game or try to as a fan. I don't know if we will. But, the minute that we find out who wins that game, you go into competition mode. You're starting to prepare, coaches and players. But the best thing is, we have one day extra physically to get healthy, but the mental strain that it has on you preparing for an opponent, and it's tough. And I hope these guys for one day can enjoy this moment, enjoy not having an opponent. We'll have a happy flight home, and then Saturday we got to get to work.
Yeah, it'd be great to have that extra day for my body for sure.
Yeah, same thing right there. Extra day.
Well, I want to thank Coach Freeman, obviously, and our two student athletes, our MVP.